Welcome to the shop. My name's Barry. It's been a long winter. Time to start thinking about cutting grass again. But before we do that, we probably ought to check our equipment. So we're going to look over this mower, see what it takes to get it back in tip-top shape to cut grass. So if you're interested to see what it takes to look over a mower and make a few repairs, do some maintenance work, stay tuned. We'll get into it. Good maintenance actually begins in the fall. When we get done with our mower for the last time mowing, what we need to do is run it out of fuel and store your mower without fuel. So what you do is you just run it down, or you either drain the tank or just let it run until it runs out of fuel, and that will leave your fuel tank dry, leave your carburetor dry, and old stale fuel is bad news in these small engines. So a little forethought in the fall will save you some maintenance costs in the spring. One of the mistakes a lot of people make when they go to refuel, they don't clean the grass around their fuel cap. They'll just go ahead and pop the cap off and add fuel. But you see all this grass around here and all this dirt? Now look under the cap here. Lots of junk, mainly grass clippings, gets everywhere. This little thing here is full of grass clippings, blows everywhere. Well, this guy did himself a favor last fall. He drained the fuel, and so that let the tank dry out. I'm gonna get a flashlight going here. Maybe you can see in this tank. Let you look down in there. That's dry, but look at all the grass clippings in there. Hope that's coming through on the camera okay. Lots of dirt, debris, grass clippings, so forth, and that comes from not properly cleaning around your cap before you pop your cap off to refuel. So fortunately, since the tank is nice and dry, we just take some compressed air blow it out a little bit, take a look in there with a flashlight again, and yes, it's clean. Now there is a screen in there, so the screen keeps it out of the carburetor, but still I have seen so much fuel or so much grass get in the clippings, get in there, cover the screen, and causes the mower not to run right. Okay, I've actually got my flashlight down in the fuel tank there. We'll take a look, let this thing focus. You can see now the screen, and it's nice and clean in there. Okay, I've got the mower propped up here on the table. I just got the handle stuck underneath the table over here and got it setting up here where I can take a look underneath. Let's have a look underneath here. What you want to look for is a lot of grass buildup. You'll probably find some under your mower that's got caked up grass under here. This guy takes a real good care of his mower. He doesn't let that accumulate in there. Also, if you mow when it's dry, you do not want to mow wet grass. If you mow when it's dry, your deck will stay much cleaner. And take a look at the blades. This one is not too bad. I've seen a lot worse. It's not completely sharp by any means, but we'll get it off of there and sharpen that blade up. Okay, this one's got some fishing line wrapped around it here. Want to be careful and not let any string or fishing line or anything like that get wrapped around the shaft of the engine. Can do damage to the engine that way. But anyway, here's our blade. Looks pretty decent. This side, however, has a pretty good nick in it right here. So we'll grind that out when we sharpen the blade. Now you can hand file the blades. You can use a handheld grinder, just as long as you keep the same angle. You don't want to change the angle. And this little lip up here, this little ramp actually helps make suction under the deck, and helps to get the air flowing and get the grass clippings to discharge or to mulch. So typically all I do is use a grinder here, and we'll fire up here and do it. This little device here is a lawnmower blade balancer. You can buy these at the hardware store, big box stores. And what you do is when you get done grinding your blade, you make sure it's in balance. And to do that, you just set your blade over here, and it centers up on that little cone right there on one of those steps, and you can check it. Make sure it balances out. This one balances fine, so we'll put it back on. It's good to go. Okay, here's the bolt that holds the blade on. Typically you want to take a little anti-seize compound like I'm using here, and just put just a drop on there is all you need, and put the bolt back in and tighten it by hand this time. Everyone is tempted to use an impact wrench. It's great to get them off with. It does save the knuckles getting the blade off. But to put it back on, it's always best to use a hand wrench or a socket. That way you don't over tighten it. This one here needs to be run up a little bit. There's notches that you have to get it to lock into right there. There we go. And just snug like that. That's all you need. Careful, don't cut yourself on the freshly sharpened blade there. Okay, the next thing we want to look at is the oil. And again, look here, dirt. We want to be sure this is clean around that. No grass clippings. Clean the cap real well before you get it back near the filler again. Get that all wiped off. And then to properly check the oil, after you unscrew it out of there, you just stick it down till it touches. Pull it back out. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's a little low on oil, and the oil is just a little bit dirty. So we'll change this oil. Now, I didn't show you guys while we were underneath the mower. Typically on most mowers there is a drain plug on the bottom where you drain the oil out. I didn't see it on this one. It looked like it was pretty hard to get to. I've got a different method. This is actually a little vacuum chamber, and I just take this little straw, stick it down in the engine all the way till it won't go anymore, and this pump will actually pull a vacuum on this little straw, and I can literally vacuum out the oil out of the engine. Now the oil's cold on this one, so it's going to take a little while, but just come over and pump this every once in a while and keep a vacuum in here, and it'll eventually draw all the oil out. And while you're drawing the oil out or letting it drain, you can go check your owner's manual, see what oil they recommend, and be sure and put the proper oil and proper amount back in it. All right, I hear it drawing air here. Pull that out of there. Crankcase is now empty. And we'll get some oil and fill it up. These push mowers typically hold about a quart of oil. We'll see what this one ends up holding. All right, well, we got the oil filled up. This one ended up holding 20 ounces. So that put it right on the full mark. Last thing we want to look at before we blow it all off and clean it all up is the air filter. What do you think we'll find in here? Let's have a look here. Oh boy, look at this. Look how dirty this is. Now this is not the worst that I've ever seen, but this one's a good example of needing a little bit of attention. So we'll just take some compressed air and blow that off. Typically that'll get you through a mowing season. If it gets too bad, you can go to your local shop and get another one, or on Amazon. Put your mower model number. Get them pretty cheap that way. But I think we're just going to clean this one and put it back in. I think we're about done. I'll take the blower here, and off camera I'll clean this residue out of here and the dust and dirt. It'll be ready to mow again. Thanks for watching.